All right, let's dive straight into Act 1 of J.B. Priestley's and Inspector Calls. We're going to break down all the key details you'll need for your GCSE revision, so let's get started.
So, what's on the agenda? Well, we're basically going to walk through the whole act, piece by piece. We'll start with that self-satisfied celebration, look at Burling's less-than-brilliant predictions, and then, of course, the inspector arrives. We'll see how Burling and Sheila handle their responsibility, or lack thereof, and finish with that huge cliffhanger.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1912. We're in the home of the very wealthy, very pleased with themselves Burling family. They're all dressed up, celebrating their daughter Sheila's engagement to Gerald Croft. I mean, on the surface, everything looks absolutely perfect, right? But yeah, as you can probably guess, that perfection is just a thin veneer, an illusion that's about to be shattered.
And right from the get-go, Priestley paints a really clear picture of each character. You've got Arthur Burling, the pompous, self-important dad. His wife Sybil, who's kind of cold and definitely sees herself as socially superior. Then there's Sheila, who's just super excited about life. Her son Eric, who seems a bit off, kind of anxious and awkward. And of course, Gerald, Sheila's super smooth fiancé. You know, these aren't just character descriptions. Priestley is planting the seeds for all the drama that's about to unfold.
And then Burling opens his mouth and boom, we see exactly what he's all about. For him, this engagement, it's not really about love or his daughter's happiness. Nope, it's a business deal, a merger. His toast is literally about lower costs and higher prices. It just goes to show that for Mr. Burling, the only thing that really matters is the bottom line.
Now, if you thought that was bad, Priestley is just getting started with Mr. Burling. He uses this absolutely brilliant literary device called dramatic irony. And its whole purpose? To make Burling look like a complete and utter fool in front of us, the audience.
I mean, just listen to this guy. He's so full of himself. He says war is impossible. Fiddlesticks, he calls it. In his mind, there is absolutely no way the Germans want war. He's speaking in 1912, totally confident in his own, worldly wisdom.
But here's the kicker, right? We, the audience, know something he doesn't. The play was written and first performed after World War II. The audience watching would know that just 2 years later, in 1914, the First World War would begin. So he couldn't be more wrong. And that gap between what he knows and what we know, that's dramatic irony. Priestley uses it to completely discredit him from the very beginning.
Oh, but he's not done. Just when you think he can't say anything more foolish, he doubles down. He brings up the Titanic, which is about to sail. He calls it a symbol of human progress, declaring it, wait for it, unsinkable, absolutely unsinkable. It's like a perfect metaphor for his own arrogant, capitalist worldview.
Yeah, we all know how that story ends, don't we? The Titanic sank on its very first voyage. In 1912, the same year he's saying this, the irony is just crushing. Priestley is basically screaming at us. This man's worldview, it's just like the Titanic. It looks impressive, but it's built on arrogance, and it is heading straight for an iceberg.
So, there Burling is, on top of his game, lecturing Gerald and his own son Eric about his selfish, every man for himself philosophy. He's at the absolute peak of his little monologue, and then everything changes.
And this is really the core of his whole belief system, right here. A man has to mind his own business and look after himself and his own. It's pure capitalism. He's completely dismissing any idea of community, of social responsibility. It's all about number one.
And right as he's saying it, there's a sharp ring of the doorbell. It literally cuts him off mid-sentence. I mean, come on, that's not an accident. That is brilliant stagecraft by Priestley. The inspector's arrival physically interrupts this selfish speech. It's a signal. Everything you just said, it's about to be put to the test. And in walks Inspector Gould. The whole mood just shifts instantly. Priestley's stage directions are so important here. The lighting changes from this warm, pink and intimate glow to something brighter and harder. See what he's doing? It's not just about turning up the lights. The cozy little family bubble has just been burst, and now they're under the harsh glare of an interrogation lamp. So, the inspector gets right to it. No small talk. He explains that a young woman, Eva Smith, has just died by suicide, and he wants to ask some questions, starting with the head of the family, Mr. Burling himself.
This is where we get the central theme of the whole play, this idea of a chain of events. The inspector isn't looking for one single person to blame.
He's trying to show them, and us, that a series of actions, one after the other, all linked together led to this girl's death. It's Priestley's big message about social responsibility, right there.
It turns out Burling fired Eva Smith from his factory. Why? Because she was a ringleader in a strike for a tiny pay rise. Burling just shrugs it off. It's business, he says. I can't accept any responsibility. But his son Eric speaks up. He thinks it was cruel. And right there, you see the first crack in the family's perfect facade. It's the old generation versus the young.
Okay, so the spotlight shifts. The inspector turns to Sheila. And we find out that Eva Smith actually managed to land on her feet. She got another job. But that second chance didn't last long. And this time, it was because of Sheila.
So here's the story. Eva's working at a fancy dress shop called Millward's. Sheila comes in, she's in a bad mood, tries on a dress, and it doesn't look good on her. She catches Eva smiling, and in her temper, she thinks Eva's laughing at her. So what does she do? She uses her family's money and influence to complain and demand that Eva be fired. And just like that, because of a moment of petty jealousy, Eva is out on the street again.
But, and this is a really big but, Sheila's reaction is the complete opposite of her father's. He felt nothing. She is absolutely horrified. You can tell her guilt is real. She's the first one in the family who actually gets it, who understands this chain of events and sees the part she played. This is a huge turning point for her character.
Okay, so Sheila's had her breakdown, and you might think that's the big reveal for now. But nope, the inspector is about to drop another bombshell that completely changes the game.
He tells them that after Eva Smith lost her job at Millward's, she changed her name to Daisy Renton. Now, this isn't just a random fact. The inspector knows exactly what he's doing. He's laying a trap because he knows that name is going to get a reaction from someone else at that dinner table.
And snap, the trap works. Gerald Croft, the calm, cool, collected man about town, gives this startled reaction. Just one word. What? But it's enough. His composure is gone. He's just given away his secret. He knew her. He's caught.
The inspector just turns to him. The whole room is silent. And he says one single powerful word. Well? And curtain. End of Act 1. It's such a brilliant cliffhanger. That perfect family illusion, it's not just cracked, it's in pieces on the floor.
So Priestley leaves us hanging, right? We're all left wondering, what on earth is Gerald's story? What did he do, and who else is tangled up in this? The stage is absolutely set for Act 2, and you just know things are about to get even more intense.